2017 Toyota Tundra front brake pad and rotor replacement. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is MDC Automotive. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. Now on to the video. A couple months ago I did the brake pad and rotor replacement on the rear. Now I'm doing the front. I did this side yesterday evening. Today I will be showing you guys how to do the installation on this side. Now obviously before we begin, you want to make sure that you jack up your vehicle safely and securely with jack stands, and if you have a lift, obviously use the safety feature on it. So I'll get that out of the way and then continue with the installation. And as for reference, I'm using the lower control arm as my jack point, and the back side for the jack stands. Now I always put my tire underneath the vehicle for extra precaution. Also, I did spray the back side of my bolts, which are 19mm head, to be able to break them loose, because this is what we're going to have to remove after removing our brake pads from the caliper. You want to start out by removing these clips. You can do it with your fingers by hand, but I found a flat blade screwdriver works best. Jam the flat side in there like that, undo that side, same for this side. But once you undo one side, the other side comes out fairly easy. Turn it like that, and then right here, this pin also, same with the screwdriver. Like that. This one stays on until we push the pin out that's keeping the brake pads in place. And then I'll grab the front side of the pin like this and just pull it out. And your clip comes off. Now for the top one, there's two. Like that. Now the brake pads slide out like that, but obviously since we're not in a perfect world, it's gonna be quite a hassle to pull these out, so because they're so old and rusted. So what I usually do is get a punch like this, but you can also use to push your guide pin if it's not coming out. Get a punch like that. Just kind of leverage them out of there. Just go back and forth. Once you get out far enough, you should be able to shimmy it out, but that's not always the case. Presumably, now that you got one out, you're not compressing with both of them so much, so this one should come out fairly easy. Let's give it a try. Nope. So we're gonna have to do the same thing here. Okay. Do make note of your rear brake pad, your brake pad wear sensor is on the rear pad on the lower side, and that will be important when putting in your new ones, because you will have to pick the right one to put specifically on this slot. Now we're ready to remove our caliper. Okay, before you remove your caliper, we want to remove our bracket to make things easier. So this is 12 millimeter. Then you get your flat blade screwdriver and you undo these clips right here. Just wedge it in there. Like that. This allows your cable to move more freely for your wheel speed / ABS sensor. And there's another one back here. Just wedge it in there and twist like that. So you want to be able that to move freely. This moves freely. Now we're ready to remove our caliper. And on the bottom side, the impact cannot get in there to be able to loosen that, so I'm going to break that loose with the ratchet or breaker bar. Now before I remove the top mounting bolt for the caliper, I got these two hooks where I'm going to hang my caliper off, because you don't want that just hanging on the brake line and risk kinking it or snapping anything. Take your caliper, go and loop it through the mounting hole. And grab my second hook. Like that. And now you see why it is important to remove our bracket for a brake line off of here so that it can move freely. Alright, now we give this a good whack with the hammer, see if it comes off. Never does, but we'll see. Nope. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put penetrating oil into these holes to try to get it to loosen. Then I'm going to find, that is a threaded hole. I'm going to find a bolt that fits through there. Maybe we can make it disconnect from the Okay, let that soak for a bit. And I'm gonna look for that bolt I was talking about, and I'll be right back. Okay, I found my little bolt. Let's see if it threads on here. dry it back out on the other side to even things out. There you go. And there's your old brake rotor. If you have access to compressed air, it would be wise to blow all this off. Give it a good brushing with a wire brush and spray some brake parts cleaner in there before you install your new brake rotor. So I'm not going to show that because I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory, but I'm going to do it and I'll be back to continue with the installation. Before we install everything back together, we're going to have to push our pistons on the caliper back in. And in order to do that, well, first of all, you have to get under the hood because we want to open up our cap for the master brake cylinder. Like that. To make the pushing of the cylinders back into caliper a little bit easier. Now in the past, to push my pistons back into caliper, what I usually do is use the C-clamp, but this style of brake caliper doesn't allow it to because it's a forced piston and there's two on each side directly across from each other and not really letting you get a C-clamp in there the way you would like, even though you could still make it work. But what I have here this time is like it's kind of like a spreader tool to push the piston back in. It has a ratcheting mechanism and they open up to be able to push your pistons back in all at the same time, because what happens is whenever you're pushing, if you're pushing these on if you're pushing on these at once, these will naturally pop out on you. Then you go back to push these back in, these will come out on you. So this is to prevent that. So let's give it a try. And what I'm doing is extending once you feel it catch, you won't see it at first, but it is working. Okay, and now we can see that our pistons are almost literally flush to the wall of the caliper, and that should allow us to be able to put our new brake pads with more pad on them easier. Now before we go to install this, I'm going to also hit this with the wire brush in here, get up in there, because you don't want all that crap in your new brake pads and rotor. So I'm going to do that, and once I get everything done, we'll be able to install our new pads. Okay, we got our new brake rotor here. One thing I want to point out is that before you install this, these do come like pre-oiled or pre-lubricated from the factory, so you do want to spray it down with some brake parts cleaner, wipe it down. I already did that. We'll probably have to do it again anyway. I got my rotor on, got a lug nut to drive it in a little bit, and now we're ready to install the brake caliper. To save some time in the video, I did put some brake caliper grease on my contact points, so I put them on the cylinders and right here where the brake pads are going to slide, as well as on that side. And now we're ready to install it. Our lower one. You might have to wiggle your caliper around to get it to thread on there. For the lower one, I'm going to use my deep well so I don't take on my brake line in the process. And you just want to snug that up. I'm going to come back and torque these down after I get my pads and this put in. With this bolt, you do want to be careful because it is kind of tapered off, so you want to make sure you get it lined up correctly because you will cross thread it if you're not paying attention. So if it's giving you some resistance, you may want to drive it back out until it's threading in correctly. And I'm just going to hand tighten that with the ratchet. There's no need to torque it down. Okay, we have our new brake pads here. I'm going to start with the one from the back side with the brake pad wear indicator. What I do is take a little bit of grease, and I'm going to put this on the back side. Like that. Now for the other one. Like that. So you take your new hardware and your pin, and just to make things slide easier. I line up the holes. A little bit of grease. Right there through the hole where it's going to go into. Okay, and slide it into the top, put our clip in. Oh, too much. Reach up. Okay. Okay, now we're in. Just a little more. Okay. Now for a second guide pin to the bottom. Okay. Okay. We're all set. Now for other clip, this little tab right here goes inside this hole of the caliper. Like that. Holding in the two pins. And if you notice where you put your pins, there is a hole that is in your pin like that, your guide pins. So you kind of want to rotate them to line them up. And here's the other one. Like that. So give that a rotation. So now my little wire is holding that pin and that pin through the holes on each. Then we take our tab and just put it like that, push it in, and we are locked in place. And that is how your new brake pad installation should look like. Alright, now we still gotta go back and torque our bolts on for the caliper, which is 39 foot-pounds. And 79. The lower one. Okay. Now to finish things up, don't forget to put your cable for the wheel speed sensor back in its clips. Like that. should be able to hear it click in. Okay, nice and secure. Gives it rotor one final wipe down. Second gen Toyota Tundra front brake pad and rotor installation. All I have to do now is put my tire back on it and take it out for a test drive to make sure everything is secure, and set the brakes, and you're good to go. If you like the video, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will post the items that I used today down in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys in the next one.